So, if you're out there in online land, we want to welcome you and just say that Stuart and I are always open to hearing from you, and you should not feel like you're living in a vacuum. We want to collaborate with our online students as closely as possible. So please do feel like you can reach out to myself or Stuart at any point in time with comments or questions or issues. You have something, Sam? Okay. I'm going to leave you with this and talk to Tanner for 5 minutes.
Off. Right.
Yes, yeah. I'm going to go over there.
All right, so this is for any of the students, either the School of Writing or at MPT. On Monday evenings, starting tonight, and then every 2 weeks after tonight, we're going to be hosting a writer's round table from 6:10, I believe. Samantha, is that correct? Is it 6:10 or 7:10? 7:10 till 10 p.m. And in this, we are going to be working with any and all writers or directors or anyone from any discipline who has a screenplay idea or screenplay pages that they want to work on. Really informal, very interactive, and you can turn up with pages or even just an idea or a character sketch or anything that you want to hear. We can read it out loud and then we can discuss it. So really, really helpful. Some of you probably belong to various writers groups already, and this is just another way that you can maximize that kind of interaction. So 7:10, so just after 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. here in Townsend in room, what room are we in? Samantha, do you know what room we're in? Room 205. So please do come along. Similarly, every Thursday morning between 10 a.m. and 12 noon in room, I think, 235, there'll be the Screenwriters Workshop, which is hosted by me, and you can come to that with anything at all relating to screenwriting. And I will help you with your ideas or your stories or your scripts. And that's every Thursday from now until the end of the semester in room 235. If you're online and you would like to schedule some time for me to hop on a Skype call or whatever, or an Adobe Office within that period, I'm more than happy to do so. So you can email me on sthomas@academyart.edu. That's sthomas@academyart.edu. And we can schedule a time within that 2-hour block on a Thursday morning to talk through all of your story stuff. So to recap, we have the Writers' Roundtable, which is every second Monday night in room 204. The first one's this evening at 7 till 10. And then we also have the Screenwriters Workshop, which meets every Thursday morning in room 235. Between 10 a.m. and 12 noon, and everyone is welcome to come along to either or both, and we can look at your ideas. Okay? A little bit more about MPT. In the interim, I'm going to be sitting right here, so if people have questions, feel free to email them to Samantha, and then I will answer them. But right now, Jana is going to talk to you about any of the new classes that are being built for MPT. So we had a student ask if there are new classes coming online for MPT. I spoke about RAI. So.
Yeah, no, there aren't new classes coming online for MPT. Hi. But we're looking to be really spiffing up, for want of a better word. We're revisiting our online directing program, and there'll be a lot of new announcements about those classes. They'll probably start in the fall, but we are really looking at our online directing program now to enhance the offerings. And there will be 803M, which is the marketing class, will be online. Entertainment rights and contracts will be online in spring. And the social media marketing class will also be online in spring. No, there's no new on-site, but we should remind people that on-site, the writing the web series happens in spring. And we're playing around with our VR program on site. We have some ideas that live action VR. And I believe, but I will have to find out for positive, but I know our online VR class is written, and I believe we're launching in spring. We are. Sam nodded yes. So can we help you guys?
We've spoken a little bit about we've talked about the workshops and the writers' roundtable, but that was it, right? So there may be other questions that you have.
Do you have other questions?
I was wondering about the structure, probably, of this, like, to do the screenplay correctly. So,
Well, structure gets taught in the classes, so.
just like extra
Do you mean structure or formatting?
format.
Oh,
So that was a question about screenwriting format, and every semester this comes up, and this is one of the things that we can talk about in the screenwriters workshop or the writers roundtable. But there is also a formatting workshop style presentation that I did a couple of semesters ago, and that's available online. And I'm going to send the link to Samantha now. And Samantha will make that visible for everyone, and I can share it in our class today. But yeah, it's a 45 minutes to an hour presentation purely on formatting, because as you know, screenwriting format is very specific, and it's one of the easy ways to have people not read your work if you haven't paid attention to format. So that's available online. I'm going to send the link to Samantha right now, and she will get it out to everyone. But as I say, it's also something that we can talk about in the workshop or in the Writers' Roundtable. So there's plenty of support and information out there for that.
and also, which might be really helpful to you, and if you talk to Sam, I'll make sure you personally get it. In several different places in the LMS, there's this script that the Academy put out, which is a script written like a movie, but it's all about formatting. And so you both see it and hear it being spoken about at the same time. So it's really helpful. Then in almost every beginning class, so in both the feature beginning class and 166 and 618, we have modules on formatting. So we're all over formatting. And you shouldn't be being asked to write a screenplay until you've gone through those modules.
Will we have a film club?
You know, that's a really good question. We were talking about that in the staff meeting today. So if you want to start a film club, we'd be happy to endorse that. But in the meantime, we're going to start monthly screenings. The first one's going to be October 29th. You're the first people to know this because we just figured this out in the staff meeting today. And they're going to be themed screenings. So obviously this month's will be horror. And a professor who's into that theme will come and speak, and so there will be that. And then I don't know what classes you are in, but all of our beginning classes now have sort of weekly film assignments, and we're talking about what people have seen, so we are trying to encourage a lot of film viewing. And then there is a list that the teachers, when I first started 2 years ago, we had several robust conversations about films that we think if you're a filmmaker, and streaming and documentary, people should see. And there is a link to that several places in the LMS, and Sam can give you a link to that. And it's 450 films, and we're going to update it this semester, films and streaming and doc. And what we also did was we checked places that if it's free streamed, like in the AAU library or in the San Francisco Public Library. So if we could find a place where you could stream it for free, it's also in that list. So, and just personally, I would also highly recommend the AFI 100 list of films you should see if you're a filmmaker, which is another really good list. Sorry? So anything Anybody else? Morgan?
What, I want to ask a question, but I'm not sure what this, get the word
Format.
for, yeah.
It's for people who have issues or complaints, basically, or want questions about.
Well, one thing that I run into like a lot is directors looking for scripts, short scripts. And I know that there's a lot of really good writers at this school. So I was wondering if there's currently or there will be some sort of like interface for directors and writers.
Well, that would be really great. I think it's a fabulous idea, and I think we should set it up.
And we can use the
So-
mixer as a way of.
Right, we are going to have a mixer, which we also decided the date of, but I think that Morgan's, and I think it's a really great idea. I think we need to create like a central thing where writers can say, hey, I'm open. We have now, all RI people have to do a year of Production Central / senior narrative, but we need more writers. So, in fact, we're desperate for writers. So I think creating a repository, and we can do it in 205, and we'll create a sign up in 205. And we'll have one for writers and one for directors, and then we'll try to moderate that. So like if you're volunteering right now, it would be terrific if you could show up Tuesday at 4 o'clock, because I have people who need something written. So, yeah, well, yeah, but I think it's a really, really great suggestion.
How does filmmakers go about getting actors?
Are you Paula Lee? Paris Lee?
Yes.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk tomorrow. So filmmakers, we have all kinds of casting procedures here. So we're going to talk privately tomorrow. But senior filmmakers who are doing their thesis films, we have an entire system set up for them. What our conversation showed was we're missing the intro classes. And we're going to have a meeting tomorrow about how to solve that problem.
So I hear like you guys need like more writers, right? As I've been hearing. So can't there also be like an emailing thing, like an emailing list, so like maybe directors can send out like, hey, I need a writer for.
They're not official. That will not result in a good outcome. We need a central place. And so, in essence, we'll get people's emails, and then we'll moderate, so we make sure people get connected. So, it always works better if it's centralized than just sort of relying on people without sort of any kind of moderation. And that's exactly what we want to do, because that was really great what you brought up. And I must say, we admire you a lot for taking initiative. But because of it's an institution and all that, we have to centralize. But you brought up something we hadn't thought about. And just so you know, before I came, people just used other students, like whoever was in their class. It wasn't till I came that I said, why aren't they directing actors? So, but we missed your stuff, so we're going to fix that.
Is there times for workshops for actors to have workshops? I mean, for directors to have workshops, or just screenwriting workshops?
Well, for directors who are in the directing track, there are workshops that come along with senior narrative and with Production Central. So yes, but you have to be in the track, and you're way early in the program. So first we want you to learn how to direct. The one thing I can say to Paris, and then I think maybe we can pull it into all of this, and I think this applies to everybody, and I almost feel like apologizing to our online students because I haven't figured out how to do this yet. If you want to be a director, the best thing you can do is be on movie sets. And we have a sign up in 205 for anybody who wants to volunteer. We shoot somewhere between 11 and 20 thesis films, and they all need PAs. And we are going to start shooting in about 3 weeks. And once we start, we shoot 7 days a week till the semester ends. And believe me, we will put you to work. And it really, now, there's, you know, when I first was making films in my professional company, and a friend of mine who's a producer came and he saw the PAs watching, and he said, that's not what a PA's job is. They should be running and doing. So there's, not to mislead you, a PA doesn't just stand and watch. They're doing, and they're not always or often on the set, at least at the beginning. But to be a director, you need to understand the whole thing. So we would love to have and students who've come and done it have really, I mean, like one kid from a 205 class that I taught came to a movie and nobody knew him. And, you know, he found himself in the grip department on day one. And I swear to you, by day 3, everybody was going, Ramel, where's Ramel? Get me Ramel. And now Ramel is a grip. I mean, he is like one of the most sought after students in that discipline in the school. And it really just came from showing up, and he was so smart, and he took initiative that like he was like essential. I think if he hadn't shown up, people would have been crying by day 3. So you can really like find your way just by being on a set or a lot of sets.
Would this also be good for screenwriters as well to be on set?
What a wonderful question. In my opinion, extraordinarily good. And in fact, we had for the web series, one of the writers was on the set the entire series, every day from call to wrap. And she said she learned more about screenwriting from being there because you're seeing what happens. It's one thing to think about it in your brain, but it is such a different thing when people are doing it. And you'll see how screenplays in your mind are not the thing that comes alive. And you'll see how actors want things changed. And you'll see, I mean, my favorite thing is you're sitting there and you're writing, he sweats, right? Well, when you go into prep, the makeup person wants to know, is it like a trickle or is he like pouring? So that like everything you write, somebody has to make happen. And you begin to see the consequences of, oh, I didn't really mean, I don't care if he's sweating or not. I just wanted you to understand his mental state. Well, the people making the movie did care because you wanted him to sweat. And you also get to see, and this is the unfortunate thing about being a writer, it's the nasty secret nobody tells writers. The director doesn't care. And it's their movie. And so this pages and pages of scene description and action description and everything else that you have written and sweat over, director doesn't care, and you have no power. And so the more emotionally connective and evocative and short you can make your scene and action description, the more you're going to see the film you wanted to write. But the details of behavior, and you know, I guess one of the virtues of me in Rye is I get paid to write movies. In fact, I'm doing one now. I directed and I produced 100 movies. And the one thing I can tell you is I've sat with major movie stars, and you know what the first thing they do is? They cross out all the parentheticals. Before they even, I have literally watched actors sit there with a script, and before they even read it, cross out the parentheticals. Because they don't care what you want them to do. And so all those parentheticals that, and believe me, when I write, I'm like all about parentheticals in my first draft. But then I start going back. I can't direct the movie, and I can't act in the movie unless I'm doing those jobs. And so all those telling people pathetically, sadly, tersely, they don't care. You've got to make it be in your dialogue and behavior. And the more it's in the dialogue, the more I can get that you're angry because you're saying, yes, I went there, instead of giving a long sentence, the more they're going to get your terse.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny to think about screenwriting this way, or any kind of writing, it's kind of like you have to make your first argument so compelling that there's no way that anybody can see it any other way. You know, the quality of your writing is so vivid and powerful that there's no equivocation. But part of being a compelling writer is being an economical writer. You know, and getting to the heart of whatever it is, be that a passage of dialogue or a description, getting there as quickly as you can and as persuasively as you can, so that your way of seeing it is so emphatically there that it's like there's no room for argument.
So to go back to, is it useful for a writer to be on a set? It's useful to see that. And it's much less painful when it's not your script. So you learn a lot from seeing what actually happens to a script. Anybody else? And we highly encourage you guys, and I mean this seriously. I was at a recruitment event. I think the thing about Stuart and I can tell you this man works all the time professionally, and I do a lot of stuff. And the only reason we're teaching is because we're junkies. We actually love students. And anytime you want to come and talk to either one of us, I hang out either in the conference room or 205.
And I'm roundabout.
We really do. We'll read work that isn't for classes. We'll talk to you about stuff. I mean, the more you want to take from us, the happier we are. I mean, that's the honest to God truth. And the only way you can find that out is if you try us. But that is the truth. We just love teaching. So. Okay, thank you all very much.